Hello, and welcome to the September 2025 meeting of Triangle Association of Freelancers. Our guests this evening are Tammy Baggett, who's the director of the Wake County Library System, and Theresa Theall, who is the senior library manager. They will be in conversation this evening with Tara Minter. Tara, it's all yours.
Thank you. I'll start with the introductions with the bios of both Tammy and Theresa. Tammy Baggett received a bachelor's degree in speech communications, public relations from University of North Carolina at Wilmington. She is a graduate of North Carolina Central University, where she received her master's degree in library science. Mrs. Baggett comes to Wake County a year ago from the Durham County Library, where she served as director for 13 years. In this role, she worked to elevate the organization by building a cohesive and innovative team of employees, as well as strong community support. She has extensive experience with developing and implementing policies, providing strategic direction, and working collaboratively. In addition to Durham, Mrs. Baggett worked at William Madison Randolph Library at UNC Wilmington, New Hanover County Public Library, Forsyth County Public Library, Atlanta Fulton Public Library, and the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Theresa Theall received a bachelor's degree with honors in English literature from Adelphi University in Garden City, New York. She is a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where she received her master's degree in library science. She also completed a year-long master's program in information management at the University of Sheffield in Great Britain. After working at Iredell County Public Library in Statesville for 2 years, she joined Wake County Public Libraries as a systems administrator and manager of information technology. After 12 years in this capacity, she enthusiastically transitioned to the Collection Development Services Department as senior library manager and has developed a strong management team to oversee the 24 library locations in Wake County for all things related to the diversity and accessibility of the book collections. Making connections with local authors to promote their books in the library book collections is of special importance to Mrs. Theall. Additionally, she enjoys working with special collections, such as the unique and historic Molly Houston Lee African American Book Collection. Thank you for joining us, Theresa.
Thank you.
And pardon me, I have a bit of a cold, so my voice is what it is. So I have questions for you as individuals and jointly. So I'm going to start with Tammy first. So Tammy, as library director, you provide the vision and strategic direction for the Wake County Public Library System. What is your current focus?
So first, thank you for inviting us to this conversation tonight. I always love talking about libraries, and I always love meeting new community connections and partners for us. So the vision of the library is one that I set, I guess, around January. I started in August, and I won't state the whole vision, but it really is about sparking curiosity, fostering learning, and building community connections. So for me, those are the three focal points that we are really working on. Um, I come to a system that already has a great reputation. So it's building on the success of that reputation and trying to bring in some new innovative things that maybe we haven't had the opportunity to do in the past because of budgeting. But I feel if we can meet those areas of sparking curiosity, even for adults, we know children are curious about things, but how can we make sure that we're sparking that same curiosity for adults, just really for all ages? And then fostering learning, because that is something that I value so much being a lifelong learner. And I think that is something that is typically true of library users, that they're always looking for opportunities to learn something new, from a new language, something as simple as about a new author or how to play a new game, chess. I need to learn how to play chess myself, that kind of thing. And then building those community connections. I say during my career at all the libraries that libraries are best kept secrets. And that really does seem to be the case sometimes. We do so much, but people still don't know all the things that we do. So as we continue to build community connections, I think that really helps that vision of all of this to come together.
Right. Well, can you discuss some of the successes and challenges you've had so far as the library director?
Yes. Well, I think one of the best successes that I can think of is just having an amazing team of employees. And I know that may sound cliche to say that, but I really do believe that the best resource goes home at night. And without a hardworking team, we couldn't have success in anything at all in the library. I do feel like our programming is a huge success as well. We offer programs for all ages, really. Um, Before kindergarten, we're just about to launch a program, 1,000 books before kindergarten. So we're starting out early, all the way up to the oldest person that wants to use us either virtually or to use us from home. Not virtually or in the actual brick and mortar location. So I think that is a success, just the diversity of our programs, the amount of programs that we're able to offer, and that it's programs that aren't just for educational purposes, but there's also that entertainment component. But with that, there's the education piece that comes with it, even when it's for fun.
Mm.
So I think that's a huge success. Another success that I would speak of is a recent addition that we've made to our outreach unit, and that is to have a bookmobile that is dedicated to senior services. So that has just been up and running maybe 2 months now. So it's really just a soft launch that we've done so we can learn what's working, what isn't working right now. But we go to different senior centers to have books available. And in addition to the books, it really is just partnering with that connection with folks because they experience social isolation and we're a connection with that. So those are some of the successes I can think of. There is a long list of successes that I don't take credit for myself. It's success of the organization as a whole because it really does take the entire team for us to be wonderful.
Mhm.
Um, Challenges, opportunities. You know, I like to call them opportunities instead of challenges. But I think you mentioned it as obstacles. I think funding can always be an obstacle. We do have a very robust budget, but there's always need for more because the community is always requesting and demanding more.
Mhm.
And in an ideal world, we would be able to be everything to everyone, but the budget doesn't allow for it to happen that way. So I do think the funding is a challenge. But I'm very appreciative of the funding that the county commissioners have approved and they provide for us. We are good stewards of those dollars and we stretch those dollars as far as we can. But it is an obstacle with all the new things that we want to do to be able to operate under the same dollars that's there.
Mhm. All right, Teresa, this is a question for you. What's
Yes.
your current focus as senior library manager?
Wow. You wouldn't think that would be a hard question to answer, but that's a hard question to answer. And I think that
Oh.
that's one of the reasons why I love my job so much. Uh, the first thing I will say, how could you not really enjoy working for somebody like Tammy? I know you don't know her very well, but have I will be celebrating my 26th year with Wake County in January.
Mhm.
And I can tell you there is such a beautiful breath of fresh air at possibilities, and really again sparking that curiosity piece that Tammy brought in with her. So I am very very excited to be where I am, and I know that it's for a reason. Um, I find that because I did not start my career in the typical way as a collections librarian would, Most of those folks start off as either book selectors, book buyers, book reviewers, all of that. I started out in technology. And so when I moved over to collection development, I think what has held me in good stead through these years is relying on those around me that are the content experts to inform recommendations and decisions that I make. I in no way, shape, or form know the authors like our librarians know the authors, because that's not my role. My role is to set an overall vision based on our library's mission, which again is very much about sparking curiosity, ensuring that everyone sees themselves in our collection, and furthermore sees others. That whole phrase of windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors, if you may have heard of, Dr. Rudine Bishop Sims coined it, and it really does mean that's what the library should be. It should be a vision out, a vision in, reflection of oneself, and then of course the doors, meaning constant movement in and out. And so because of that, I've been able to just chart a course and then honestly get out of the way, let people do their jobs that they do best. Right now, what that means for us is there is a lot of going on what Tammy said. There are a lot of demands for what folks would like to see in our libraries, more than our budget can bear. But it's being very clear and intentional about the decisions that we make. That's really important to me. And that's why, we might get into this later, and that's fine. Talking about our local author program, which is something I ushered in, about a decade ago, to really make a point of making sure that the message that we send to our creators in Wake County and the surrounding counties of North Carolina is very clear, and it's very appreciative, because we know that getting published is a very hard thing to do by the big three, or the big, however many there's going to be from day to day. Or in y'all's case, I know a lot of nonfiction, a lot of serial publications. That's hard to do. And I really do want to make sure that we address it in a way that's respectful and really is aware of that process. I'm excited. You mentioned it a little bit about special collections. Because we have such a strong team selecting the here and now, I really have been able to delve into something that I honestly didn't realize was a passion of mine, and that was special collections and archives, and specifically the Molly Houston Lee collection. Little side note, Molly Houston Lee was the first African-American librarian in the state of North Carolina, and she was ours in so many ways. We're getting ready to celebrate the 90th anniversary of her founding the Richard B. Harrison Library in November. We will send you links so you can attend. That book collection for a few decades has not been tended and developed in the way that I think it really needs to be. And so this past year, in preparation for our celebration and just placing ourselves in a position to really show what a unique collection this is, been putting a lot of work into that. And that includes things like, Molly Lee really wanted reflection of the African-American experience, which we have, from the 1930s onward, as well as the African diaspora, which contains a lot of books that are quite unique and rare. And so developing that has been wonderful. But again, that's, I think maybe as one gets older, one's more appreciative of history and wants to make sure that we do our very best to preserve it for future. That coupled with some work that I get to do with another organization, Wake Up and Read. That is a local Wake County coalition that we're a partner of, that in essence the goal of that is to ensure that every student in Wake County, regardless of where they live or anything else, what school they go to for that matter, is proficiently reading by the end of third grade. And to do that, we do a lot of engagement with families and various communities. Yes, sharing books, but also just establishing those connections with parents early on, so that they know that they are the child's first educators, and will guide them to the love of reading. So those are just two things, but boy, like Tammy, I could just go on. So we'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, I'd love to hear your what your successes are so far, but when it comes to challenges, I would love to hear
Yes.
what challenges you're facing when it comes to
Oh,
diversifying the book collection.
I think uh, the polarization of our world makes makes establishing a collection that is reflective, respectful, um, and is a collection that folks want to seek out can be challenging, depending on publishing trends. I always use this as an example, and you all know this because this is your world. You know, you never. It's so hard to find books of other candidates when one office is in it. Like when one party is in office, all of the books are written about their opponents, and vice versa. And so you get just this huge flux back and forth, which, that's the nature of our country and our elections, which is a good thing. But boy, that can be hard to manage, and specifically with libraries, because unlike retail, we own it, and so we have to be doubly sure that the selections that we're making are, yes, meeting demand, but also a bit of a long game, which can be very hard to do, particularly when you get into e-content. That is one area that unfortunately libraries get the short end of the stick, in that an individual consumer can purchase e-content, ebook, e-audio for a certain price, not cheaply, but certainly reasonably priced. However, when it comes to libraries, a book, just so for example, a book that we would purchase a paper copy of, that would cost us, with our discounts and all that great stuff, $15-20, will easily cost us close to $70 for one copy of an ebook, double that for an e-audio book.
Wow.
And furthermore, we don't own it.
Mhm.
We're basically leasing a book for either a period of number of checkouts or a period of years. So every year we have to choose which we're going to renew,
Mhm.
and then which new we're going to buy. So as Tammy says, Wake County has been excellent in providing for us budget wise. However, it's very, very hard to stretch those dollars when it comes to e-content, which is quite honestly what so many people want now. And they want it like that because I can get stuff delivered to me at 4 a.m. by Amazon. So why can't the library? So
Mhm.
that, we run into that a lot, and that can be quite tricky and challenging
Wow.
for sure. Yeah.
Are there any successes you want to touch on right
Oh,
now?
tons of successes. Right now, just so you know, we are, as a system wide, we have, when I think about successes relating to our collections and writing, we have system events and we have local events. We've got 24 locations and getting ready to build some more. And so, there's a lot of opportunity for local engagement, but then there's also system level ones. And right now we're in the middle of our Read Local, which is a system event celebrating local authors all throughout our library system, doing programs, author reads, writers workshops, all of that. So that I'm really very excited about happening as we speak right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, that was a question I had for the both of you about
Yeah.
telling us a little bit more about the Read Local program, because I just heard about it myself and thought this group would be the perfect group to learn more about that.
Yeah.
And this is to the both of you to just give
So yeah,
give
here
more.
oh, I'm still in the meeting, honey. Thank you. Oh gosh, I love my husband. Sorry. Well, Tammy, if you want to talk about it, I was going to forward a link, um, so you all can just go directly to
Okay,
the uh event. Let's see.
that works.
Yeah.
Because, others like me may be hearing about this for the first time. So I thought,
Sure thing, sure
yeah.
thing. Now let me get back to Zoom. Okay,
So I
good.
think this is the second year with Read Local.
It
Mhm.
is.
Um, and I was able to participate last year. And it is just such a rich program with us using local authors. And that
Yes.
is local authors of teen, adult, and children's books. And it just brings really a richness to the library system to have those community connections like that. And we focus a lot of this too with our writers groups that we have. There's the Wake Forest Writers Group that exists. Oberlin Regional Library, they have a writers group, and I've actually participated in that one before. And then, and for that one and the other, the Nature Writing Workshop, the Oberlin group, and the Wake Forest group, they get together and they just start with prompts to start writing. So it's an opportunity to bring some of that for new members to join and the existing members to continue growing with that. And then we have different authors that are coming. And there's one author, and I can't say the name unless I see it well. I think it's Yakasta Biancani, and I don't know that I'm saying that correctly. But that is an author. I think her book is something about 7 keys to resilience and compassion. I think that's one of the books that she writes about. And that's just another opportunity to connect with our customers and help them see, because I think it's also about caregiving. And Theresa, if I'm getting any of that wrong, let me know. I'm trying to do some of this from memory with this, but I
Right.
think it's about a
And I was looking too.
caregiver's guide. And that compassion and resilience that comes with that. And that is one that I know for me, it resonates really loudly because I've been in that role of caregiver. So when
Yes.
we can connect someone locally to discuss that with us, we've got an aging population. It is common now that there are a lot of people that are caregivers for others.
Yes.
So not just getting the local authors, but having it as a topic that people can really relate to.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, if either of you knows how TAF members can volunteer to be a part of that, just, send us the information. We can get it out to our members because we do have a lot of different members who touch on a lot of different topics that might be of use to you down the line.
Sounds good.
Yes.
And I imagine the link that Theresa has shared will have a lot more details about it than what
Yeah.
I've shared with the dates and times of the programs.
Yes,
And
and
I
it will
do
show
hope
you
you'll
how
attend.
widespread it is.
Okay.
Across the county. The other piece, just because Tammy mentioned it, and again, this is a bit of a hidden gem, and I wanted to make sure everyone heard because it is timely. We launched, I want to say it was 2 years ago now, but time kind of flies. We launched what we are calling memory care kits. These are kits of books based on a theme, various themes. It could be artistry, it could be sports, it could be, a whole various history. And they are specifically curated kits to help the ones with the memory care needs as well as their caregivers, along with local resources, along with just a whole variety of things, all bundled in a bag that you basically can check out and take with you. And so those are also the types of things that bring me joy, because when we see a need and we can actually meet it in a way that is, really accessible to anyone in Wake County. It's
Right.
pretty awesome.
And if I could add to that a little, in January, we started a newsletter that goes out to card holders over the age of 18, that we have their email addresses for, obviously. And that was one of the topics one month for that, because what we're wanting to do is really highlight those resources that people may not know about or think of the library offering. And that is one that I received so many positive feedbacks that this was a need that the community had for that. So that really resonates when you hear the community following up saying, yes, this is spot on. We're going to use this. We're going to benefit from that.
And Tammy, I want to thank you for that newsletter because me and several members of my book club have discovered new things about the library system that we never knew before through that newsletter.
Mission accomplished, discovering new things at the library. That's what it's about. Thank you.
You're welcome. Speaking of resources, you've mentioned writers groups, and I know that North Regional Library is hosting a novel writing workshop that's going through much of this year. Are there
Yes.
other initiatives the library system has to help writers with their craft?
I can definitely speak to, if you would follow that link that I popped in there, because as
Okay.
you will see, there are a lot of resources and there's a lot of events going on that aid in that goal. But if I may, if I could just dovetail a little bit to talk about the local author program, because to me, there's a couple of components in how we support local authors here in Wake County. And again, this was started because, you know, around the time that self-publishing became a little bit more feasible for folks, 10 years ago or so, we saw a dramatic increase in folks reaching out to us and wanting us to purchase their books to add to our collection, rightly so. And what we found was that while we couldn't meet the needs of everyone, we could really create a program that works for local authors, local to Wake County and or North Carolina surrounding counties. And so what we did was we created a process, and again, I'll drop a link in so you can see. So a couple of things that we do. First off, we ask you to supply us with a review copy of your book, and then we basically take a look at it. And if it meets some basic criteria, not the criteria that we use to purchase books, because that first criteria often is show us the reviews, because that's just how we have to roll with so many things being published, as you know. But with local authors, it's different. We really do want to make sure that what our role becomes is not a buyer, but we are a promoter for your collection. And so if you can get your book in the local library and then share that with folks, well, I would like to think that it is helpful to local authors to do that. And so we have a very streamlined process where, like I said, again, we review a copy. If we like it, we ask you to just give us, perhaps 4 more copies if you wish. And then we place them in our libraries. Our library, again, is 24 locations, and our collections float, as we call it, or a shared collection. So what is available in Garner can be available in Wake Forest, can be available in Raleigh. You just request, and books travel to where they're being requested. And so in essence, this gives you visibility of your title in our catalog. Addition to that, that's how the Read Local program sort of spun out of. It's because we had so many local authors and we wanted to provide opportunities for them to network and get together and support one another, as well as providing, writing information and that sort of, guidance. But we really kind of wanted to come at it from a celebration of all that the writers are doing. And so that's how Read Local, spun up. So that's like a component of it. And I really want to make sure I share this with you, because for the past 10 years, this has been a process with our print collection. However, we are this close to getting ready to launch an online platform that will allow us to accept your electronic versions of your books. And that will integrate with our current electronic collection, which, as you know, comes from Overdrive, and lots of people use the Libby app. It will give you visibility there as well. So we're really hoping that this is going to open the door for even more authors, because what we have found is that some people, they do want to just, stay in digital content. And I totally understand that, because publishing and getting it right and getting it bound correctly and all those things, these are things that we see every day. So it just might not be economically feasible, but we would love to offer a platform for that e-content. And that's what it's going to allow us to do.
Well, since it's possible for local authors to get their books into the collection, the library collection, what causes the library system to choose a book? Is it something in particular that we need to know?
As part of the local author program,
As
or
far as getting it into the system itself?
so here, I'm just going to pop another link in. So that final link I just added in, that is a sort of an answer to the question of, hey, I'm a local author, how do I get my book in the library?
Okay.
So again, it is not about requiring anything of the local author. It's as much as you would like to give us so that we can place it in our collection.
Okay.
In terms of our purchasing in general, we do create a purchase guiding plan to,
Mhm.
as best we can, look into the crystal ball of 12 months prior to say what's going to be published this next year and sort of plan for publishing cycles.
Mhm.
We rely heavy on reviews, as you may know. Nothing really comes to you prior to it hitting street date. Street date is pretty much, we tend to order. We can order anywhere from 5 to 6 months ahead of street date if we know that it's going to be very popular.
Mhm.
And that's because, and again, as you well know, publishers have their limited print runs, and we want to make sure that we get copies in the hands of folks at Wake County reliably. And to do that, you gotta order early.
Mhm.
So we do rely on reviews quite heavily.
Yeah.
However, I have a real keen interest, and maybe this is something, this is like a future plan, but boy, I would love to offer librarians more access to more diverse review resources.
Mhm.
And maybe that's something we can talk about, because right now, yes, we do look to Publishers Weekly. We do look to, Kirkus Reviews, the Horn Book Review, obviously New York Times, but those are the big ones, and your name has to be kind of big to get in the big ones. and
Exactly.
and so unfortunately things get overlooked.
Mhm.
And so I would love to talk, if there are other resources that we can add to our toolkit to identify titles.
Mhm.
I would love that.
Okay. Okay. You've given us a lot of information about,
I know, and I think I went off track. I'm sorry.
but this group loves this kind of information. We always love, good information that we can use.
Okay.
You're in good
Okay.
company. But,
Okay.
as you know, freelancers and authors of fiction conduct
Yeah.
research when they're writing. And both of you touched on a lot of good resources, but are there resources that we as writers may not know of that the library system offers?
Okay, I'm gonna drop another link after I stop talking, and then sorry, Tammy, I jumped in.
No, that's
Um,
okay.
I so wish that people knew we had access to a ton of academic worthy databases to help you do your research, and not just manuscripts and monographs and articles, maps, Sanborn maps. Come on, folks. Libraries have access to those things.
Oh, wow.
And so, oh yeah. And we are part of, in this state, we're part of a consortium called NC Live, and it is a consortium of public, academic, or college universities and community college libraries. We all basically participate in the collection development of those resources. And because there's the academic component, we get access to databases that a public library normally wouldn't. And so
Mm.
with your library card, you most definitely can get access to these resources as well. So yeah, I just rattled off a few, but there's some special collections in there. There's some, writings of enslaved peoples in there. There's tons of historical documents in there. NC Digital, or Digital NC, sorry, I mix it up. It's one of those two. So they are a treasure trove of online local resources that they make available to everyone, including photographs, various articles, handwritten information as well. We have some of our information in that. So that's another resource. And now I'm going to stop talking and put links so that Tammy can mention some things.
Okay.
Yeah, you can definitely hear Teresa's passion for all of this. This is her
Mhm.
wheelhouse with doing
Yeah.
a lot of this work. I would also promote Olivia Rainey as a resource.
Yes.
That is for local history that's there. So if you're writing something that you need to research and find some
Yes.
facts out, that is a resource, that location. There's also the genealogy part that's there that may be needed
Mhm.
for some books.
Mhm.
And that is another hidden gem of the library system that I think would be a benefit to many.
Mhm. Teresa, you said that you worked on special collections. Can you just briefly tell us what that's like?
Oh, it's
Loves
it's
it.
it's so, and again, I've come to this late. in my career. Hold on, I'm just popping in the digital NC so I don't forget that.
While she's popping that
Beautiful.
in,
Yes, yes, please.
I will share that while Teresa is adding to our Molly Lee Houston collection, she is so excited to handle these rare books that are coming in, these hard to find gems that we have. And it is just exciting to see her coming down the hall talking about, did you see this? Look at this book, open it, smell it.
Mhm.
All of those things. So she loves it. And now I'll be quiet so you can
Yeah.
speak more of that, Teresa.
So again, as I mentioned, I am in no way, shape, or form an archivist or a special collections librarian, but I know people who are. And so I sort of conferred with them about the best way to manage sort of the regrouping of this beautiful collection, which throughout the years had been a little bit here, a little bit there, you know, and bringing them all back under one roof and in one collection. That involved getting some books back that we had temporarily housed at Shaw University, and getting those back and getting them into a room with climate control, with humidity control, because that is really what is going to make these materials truly, you know, live on for everyone in the future. And again, I'll pop a link in just so you can see the collection. It's beautiful. It's again focusing on African American diaspora and the life experience of African American from, I would even say, pre-1930s, because Molly Lee collected some very old books as well, and I'm trying to keep up with that. But certainly 1930s through the present day, because I have been trying to add books as well, and they're children's books. So we have some beautiful picture books that are reflective of some amazing illustrators as well as authors. Obviously, a whole host of nonfiction books based, you know, a lot of historical books, a lot of, you know, that type of thing. Lots of fiction, lots of really good fiction that honestly, when I try to find them, like where other copies exist, sometimes it's few and far between. So we have like the only copy of 10 in well, in libraries in the world, because where I look is OCLC, which if you all don't know OCLC, it's the world's library all in one. It's what one uses if you want to interlibrary loan something. You basically find what library owns it, and oh, can I get it for you? Which, by the way, we also offer, and we love doing that because there's no possible way we could have all the wonderful books. So we rely on ILL. But and here's just a tiny example, and then I'll stop talking. One of the key things that I thought was amazing about this collection is that there is a whole collection of books specifically about integration, segregation and integration of our schools that were written in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So you are getting time capsules. You're not getting a retrospective, which is very important. And hey, maybe someone here would like to do that retrospective and sort of pull that all together, in which case we can help you with that research. But these are amazing time capsules that must be preserved and available. My next sort of thing, once we can get all of our books back together and housed nicely, is to kind of go, and unfortunately it's one by one, and check copyright on it, because if copyright doesn't exist on it anymore, which probably for these it's going to be a fair number, then that means we can open the door to digitization, you know, and making these truly available for anyone regardless of where you live. You know, right now it's local to Raleigh. You've got to kind of walk in, look at the book, you know, that kind of thing. But the more that we can make these available digitally in a quality way, the better.
Okay. This is to the both of you. It's about requests to the system to remove a book. How does Wake County handle that?
Sure thing. Do you want me to go, Tammy, or you?
You can go ahead.
Okay, cool deal. So beginning in 2021, we started a newer process. Prior to 2021, the decision was centralized in administration. The process was the same in that anyone in Wake County can submit and complete a form that basically says, look, you've got a book in this collection. I do not think it should either be in the collection at all, or I really think it should be moved to another collection in your collections. Meaning, I think this book is a little too much for a middle schooler, but a YA or an adult population, maybe not. So the process has been that way for many years. And in 2021, we decided to create a group of representative librarians from throughout the system to actually review any requests for reconsideration that come in from the public, and in essence, do their due diligence. They grab copies of the book, everyone reads it from cover to cover. We look for reviews. We try to determine what were the circumstances that led to the purchase. Did we get a bunch of requests for purchase from the public? We get those all the time for all sorts of books. Were the reviews positive? Does this information still have a viable rationale for being in our collection? And no, that can't be, I just disagree with it. It really does need to be something that perhaps, is outdated. So that touches on a whole other area of what we do, is we try to obviously make sure that for our nonfiction, we are giving accurate information in our books, and that, things change, medical, mental health, all that. We want to make sure that it's up to date.
Okay.
So the long and short of it is they complete this form. It gets passed this committee. The committee does their due diligence, and then they present their findings to the administration team and to Tammy to determine whether or not the book will be removed from the collection or moved in the collection. It does not happen frequently at all. And in fact, I know, like, for this, we have not received a request for reconsideration this year, in year 2025. And I think maybe 2 in 2024. The ones that I'm most familiar with, well, here, I'll tell you a funny, and I'll make it very brief, I promise. But it was a funny story. There was a picture book, and this is probably maybe close to 10 years ago now. Someone decided to take one of Bruce Springsteen's songs and put it in a picture book. And it was about a guy getting shot. Like in the Wild West days. So it literally came out as a picture book. But on the end, last page, it's a guy lying in the middle of the Western street, in a pool of blood. I have no idea. I'm not a Bruce Springsteen person. I enjoy Bruce, but I don't know all the songs. So I can't recall what song it was, but oh my word. Once we recognized that, we were like, yeah, no, that shouldn't be in the children's collection. We'll keep it. Let's move it to the adult collection, So that's just an example of sometimes things happen and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
didn't see that one coming.
Well,
So.
it sounds like you've answered my last question, which was, what's the trend when it comes to book removal requests in Wake County? But you haven't had any this year, so
No,
pretty
I
much.
think that's one of the wonderful things about Wake County is that we are, I feel, a community for everyone. I feel regardless of where you live, you have a voice in Wake County. And I think because of that, I think people are very mindful of that, and are very mindful of the role of the public library to be a library for everyone. There's a quote from someone, I honestly can't remember who it was, but it was somebody in the organization. They're like, yeah, a library should have something to offend everybody. And while it's kind of like, it's kind of
That's
true.
true. Yeah.
I mean, we try not to offend people, but
Yeah.
yes, there should be books available on a whole host of topics. It's your choice as an adult, and furthermore, as a parent to your children, to decide what goes into your home. And
All
we
right.
really lean heavily upon that, to say parents are the deciders for their own children, not for children at large. And while, yes, some of the books might not be as genteel in language as we would like, there are plenty others that we think might suit your fancy as well. And oh, by the way, we've got great librarians that once you let them know specifically what you want, they can whip you up a book list like nobody's business.
Thank you.
That will
Thank you
suit
so
you.
much. Tammy, Theresa, thank you so much for the information you've given us. At this point, we open up questions from the membership to you. about what's been presented and if something hasn't been covered. So let's see if I can get some help with questions. Elisa, you have a question?
Hi. Thank you so much for this. This was great. And I do have a couple of questions, but I do want to just give a little context. So I lived here from 2006 to 2012, and I just recently returned a couple of months ago. And during my previous time here, I was very honored to be. I'm an author and I'm also a former teacher at NC State. And I was one of the um, people who kind of took advantage of what self-publishing became in like 2010 and was very
Yeah.
successful with it. And the library, Wake County Public Libraries, had invited me to do several presentations about self-publishing and do some other writing workshops. And it was so wonderful because every time I said, please have me back, you always did. And I was so grateful for that. And I was happy to see these links because since I've been back, that's one of the things I've been wanting to do is to reconnect and be of service in that way again as an author, with even more experience now than what I had in 2010.
That's fantastic.
So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll definitely access those links. And I do have a question, and this is not necessarily the most appropriate time and place to do it, but I also applied for a job. Um, I think it was last month I did. Just part-time just to start anyway, as a library page, and haven't heard back yet, but I would absolutely be interested. Um, is there anything I should do? Should I follow up? Because I had applied basically through uh, the website.
Yes.
And I will say first, feel free to follow up if you need be with that. It is a process that takes time and it's taken longer because it is so competitive with the number of applicants that we're getting.
Okay.
There are some positions that we have gotten upwards of 200 applications for
Okay.
one position. And we do take every application seriously. So it is looking through every application to make sure it meets the criteria for the job. And then dwindling that down to a reasonable number of people that we can interview. So my guess is that's part of the lag time with that. And I have found that when people apply for jobs, at some point they're notified that you're not being considered for the job,
Okay.
or if you've interviewed for the job, you were selected or you were not selected.
Okay, that's good to know. So my follow-up to that then is how do I follow up? Do I follow up again through the website? Do I call? What's the best way to?
I would recommend sending an email, and that one could actually go to Christina Settles, and we can put her email in
Okay.
the box. I think that would be a good starting point. And it may be that she refers you to county HR, but I think that's a good starting point where she could at least say, this is where we are in this process.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Joel? Joel, you're on mute.
There we go.
Mhm.
I was just curious. One of you ladies mentioned that it costs the library approximately $70 a book to bring something in. Now, if I walk in as a self-published author locally and want to give you the book, I certainly don't want to cost the library $70.
Oh,
I
no.
would, I would like a breakdown of where that 70 goes.
So the 70 is for digital content is what I'm referring to.
Oh, okay.
That is digital, yes. Print, $15, but no, digital is where the cost is in place, and that's because the publishers have agreements with only certain companies that act as platforms for public libraries, because unfortunately they don't see us as a partner, they see us as a competitor.
Mhm.
And so they have done everything that they can do to ensure that public libraries pay through the nose, pay through the nose for digital content. So that's all to say that the digital platform that I was referring to that we're getting ready to launch in 3 months, that is totally separate. And there is no, well, there is cost associated with the platform. We're going to pay for it. We're going to pay the vendor to host it. But in terms of us having to acquire or purchase digital content from local authors, no. That again would be the local author coming to us going, hey, got this PDF, and we're like, great, let's plop it up on the platform and give you some visibility. So yeah, I'm sorry for that confusion. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a question from Mark Cantrell in the
Oh,
chat.
okay.
And it says that
Yes, Mark, that is 100% it. A library card is all you need. Yep, and there Tammy said it too. Thank you. Yeah, the library cards just opens the door to all that good stuff.
to all the for the people on the line. He was asking about accessing databases in the library.
Yes,
Does. Dawn.
Tammy, I was wondering if you have read the library book by Susan Orlean, and if yes, what your thoughts are.
I have not read the book, and I'm ashamed to say that I haven't, because during the time that I was in Durham, we actually had her as a speaker, and I didn't get a chance to read the book. So it's on my list that I need to read that. So I can't really say what I think about it because I haven't read it, but it is on my growing list of books to read.
It's
Have
one of
you?
my absolute favorites. It was the first work by Susan Orlean that I had read, and I read it on a cruise with my wife, and 10 pages in, I turned to Nan and I said, I'm in love with Susan Orlean. I hope you get to read it soon, and I'm sure that you will enjoy it as much as I did.
I enjoyed her presentation and what the book was about from, that context. It sounded like it was really good, and she was a great presenter with that. And it was interesting, during the time her book came out, people would come in libraries everywhere asking for the red book. Where's the red book? I can't remember the name of it or the author. And librarians instantly knew what book they were speaking of in that case. Yes.
Yeah.
And I do need to read that soon. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
So
wonderful. It is.
you've given me homework.
We have a question from Drew.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm interested in this thing with the digital copies.
Yes.
When I publish, or when I publish, so for myself and also for my authors that I work with, the digital, is there any problem with bringing a PDF in for something that has been uploaded to Amazon?
I don't believe so. And what you highlight is one of the key reasons why we never did it on our own. And we're relying on a company, and you all can look this up. The company's name is BiblioBoard. And that is the company we are going to partner with. They manage all of the digital rights management. They also manage the integration with Overdrive as well, which is our platform for the stuff we purchase. So for the end user, it will be seamless. They'll be able to search and find all of our e-content, regardless of what platform it is. But yes, so as part of the exploration of launching this platform, and hey, Tara, can I reach out when we get closer and we can actually use this group and your collection for those that wish to participate, sort of our first launches on that platform.
Oh,
I would love that, because
Yeah.
that could answer all of our questions right there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That'd be wonderful.
All right. Any other questions? All right, that's it. Dawn, I'll turn it back over to you. Teresa,
Well,
Tammy.
I have one more
thank
for
you.
Tammy.
Okay.
Tammy, I did want to encourage you to please think of TAF as a resource for speakers. we have just a great number of well-published authors here, both fiction and nonfiction, can talk on a wide variety of issues related to writing, freelancing, novel writing, all of this. So I just wanted to add, just keep us in your back pocket. If you ever need us for anything, we would very much love to work with you.
That sounds great. And I'll make sure to share that with our person that's over programs.
Mhm.
So she'll have that information as well. Yeah, I
Please
think that
do.
talk about that, the vision of strengthening community connections. This is a community connection. You are
Yeah.
a community for us. And I think
Yes.
it would be a great connection for the library. It's a win. And for all of you, it's a win as well.
I
So yeah,
agree also. So
thank
yeah,
you.
I look forward to that.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity tonight. This has
For
been
sure.
absolutely wonderful. And
Right?
you can see that there's passion with the work we do. Theresa is just full of passion with everything she touches with work. So
Mhm.
it's been great spending this time with all of you.
It really
Thank you so
has.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TAF has an annual writers conference, so that comes up in May, and the McKimmon
May.
Center is called Right Now 2026. I'll send it to you by email, so you'll have that information
That's
for your
Oh, that
next
will be
time.
wonderful. We'd love to cross promote that. And what I'd also love to do is get you find out your social handles because we really do want to make sure we're following each other.
yes.
That would be
So we can cross
wonderful.
promote. Yeah, because we're
Absolutely.
actually we do really well compared to a lot of public libraries. Certainly the Facebook has the highest. Insta is not too shabby either. So we'd love to share the handles. Maybe is that something you could email me, Tara?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Tammy, is there an opportunity for well-established writing organizations such as ours to place promotional, like a one-page promotional sheet in the public libraries? We are a nonprofit, and I know that that can be a factor in determining what you accept and what you do not.
Right. I would encourage you to send it to me. And then what I do is I send it out to each of the libraries. And then based on how much space they have during that time on their community board, they place it there for promotion.
That'd
So
be
yes,
great.
that is a possibility. I can't say that it would happen every time, just depending on the space, but we definitely try to promote and definitely things that align with the work that we're doing. And your work
Wonderful.
aligns with the work of the library.
Sounds
Yes.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
We're
welcome.
always trying to spread the word.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's wonderful.
All right. Thank you so much. This
Thank you.
concludes the talk.
Wonderful.
Well, I hope to see all of you at the libraries at some point soon. Please visit us often, check out books, whether it's
Yes.
ebooks or
All the
e-audio or
things.
the traditional book. Would love to see you in our locations.
Yes.
Thank you
And
both
please
for
do
joining us this
email
evening.
us with any further questions. Love to make this, one of many conversations.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Tara,
Take care,
thank you for
y'all.
bringing them in. Thank you, ladies. Hope you have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.